What does it mean to carry the cross? The cross was, of course, an ancient form of torture and execution that was utilised by the Romans. It was reserved for categories of criminals who, in the eyes of the Romans, deserved the most degrading and humiliating punishment, and also for those who would lead insurrection against the Roman state. A Roman legion would erect a set of crosses outside of an occupied city, and they would be a very visual reminder of their power. The cross was therefore an instrument of fear and state oppression, as much as it was a symbol of death. The reading that we have today, where Jesus tells his disciples to hate their mother and their father and the rest of their family, and to take up the cross, would have been shocking to those who heard it. In the ancient world, family was sacrosanct, and respecting your parents was a matter of honour. Not only this, honouring your mother and your father was a commandment from God. Furthermore, taking up the cross was not only a terrifying thing to do, but it was also degrading and shameful for the one who was to endure it. Perhaps what Jesus was doing here was counterbalancing the reaction that people had to the miracles and glorious occurrences that had been happening through him. Many people who would have seen them may have wanted to associate with Jesus due to the supernatural power that he wielded, to be connected with him so that they could share in his honour and perhaps in his power. Yet Jesus is careful to warn those who listen to him of the heavy cost that he will pay. He also wants them to know that those who choose to follow him as disciples must also be prepared to give up everything for the kingdom, even their own lives. What Jesus' listener would not have realised at this point was that the cross, then a symbol of fear and death, would become, through Jesus' death and resurrection, a new symbol of life and hope. Taking up our crosses may involve self-sacrifice and a giving up, but it also means sharing in the life offered by Jesus through the cross and the resurrection, eternal and everlasting life. As we enter a new connectional year as the new Northampton Methodist Church, there will be questions about what we need to give up in order for us to grow in our discipleship. We may need to make difficult decisions in order to follow the way that Jesus calls us to. Yet at the same time, we must also realise that in giving up, we also take on the new life that is offered to us in Christ. By carrying the cross, we walk the road that leads to the cross and yet also goes to the empty tomb and to the resurrection. Carrying the cross may look different in each different context. However, what it does mean is moving away from our self-centeredness and selfishness and instead prioritizing the self-giving love of Jesus. So may we commit ourselves to giving up that which we must leave behind and taking up the radical and inclusive, unconditional love that we find in Jesus as we seek to be his disciples and receive his life.